The end is near, my friends. We have reached the end of the video series. Honestly, there was so much information. I hope that you keep this and come back and rewatch all of it again. Take the quiz again, see if your weaknesses change after you tackle the ones that you've identified here. This should be a tool that I want you to have in your arsenal and use all the time. In this video, I'm going to walk through my suggested approach of how each of you, no matter what weakness you had, can identify the tasks that need to be done and also some resources how you can figure out how to complete said tasks to improve your weakness. So first of all, this is going to be a very methodical approach. I want you to sit back and look at the lists. And if you don't have a list of things that you need to get done, you need to go rewatch the last two videos. But look at the list. Hopefully you've created it of all the things that you need to get done, especially if like you're watching legalities and you're going, oh my gosh, I have a name just like everyone else. Oh my goodness, I think I need to change my name. I think I need to do that bridging like Rachel talked about and come up with a new name, but append my name temporarily. And oh my gosh, what do I got to do? Because I don't want to be imparted upon, I don't want my brand taken from me. You feel that fear? That's something you need to do. Or maybe the other side, if you're like, oh my God, I'm completely overwhelmed, the whole collections and sales and pricing thing, I still don't get the consumer psychology. Write that down. Learn how to create packages and also work with client psychology. Those are just two examples. If you're feeling something, whether it's fear or resistance or unknown or, oh my God, I got to do it, make sure that you've done that list. Take a pause if you don't have that list and go back and rewatch and then come back here. Because what we're going to do is we are going to move forward now with the structure of how we can take that list and tangibly get it onto one place in front of us so that we are able to ensure we get it done. There's a whole bunch of systems available out there. There's Trello, there's Asana, there's Wunderlist. My favorite, and we use this at TheLawTog, we use this at my podcast, at my firm, we use it everywhere. My favorite is Monday.com, and I'm going to show you guys some screenshots of how ours looks and how I want you guys to move forward on implementing this. But you can create different boards. So maybe identify you have multiple weaknesses here. Create a board for business planning, create a board for marketing, create a board for pricing and sales, create one for legalities. I'm going to use legalities as the example of how we're going to structure that board. Within that board, you have multiple groups that you can walk through. And what I mean by that is you want to take these high-level checklists that we just talked about, the checklist item, and at the very top, we're going to create a group that is going to be all of our high list items. So we have one-click view in that group. It's just going to show us where we're going to be in the status of doing that item. All right, so that's the very top. Then we're going to go below. We're going to create one group for each. So not the items. So we have these groups, as you guys can see, and then we have items below it. The first group at the top is the high level view of legalities that we need to get under control. You're going to write down put the things in all the items below that you want to ensure that you're going to target. So that way you have a high level view. The groups below, you're going to take each item. So maybe your first item is business name. Create a new group. You put business name. And what are the steps below that we want to do? We're going to put things like run checks, such as set up Google alerts. See if anyone else is using the same name. Search Google. Search engine optimization is not always great for everyone. Third, check your local corporation commission or business entity search. 4, search all the social media systems to see what the platforms, to see if there's anybody else with the same name as you also offering photography services. And that's the structure. So in this one board for your weakness, you're going to have the high level tasks, and then each group is going to have the high level task, and all the items below are going to have the actionable steps for you to be able to implement it. Now, if you just create a board from scratch on Monday, it'll automatically populate in the structure. We'll have the item. It'll let you put notes. It'll let you set a deadline, and also have a status of like stuck on it, needs action, or done. This way you can visually look and see how you're going to work through all of these tasks. We've tried to do this on Trello, and we fought against it for so long, and it was very difficult because you're not able, unless you're really fancy and adept at it and used it for a long time, in my experience, and maybe you already have the structure in place, fantastic, but you're not able to specifically see high level where you're at at that time. So for me, the reason I structure the board this way is at the top where I have the high level tasks, I can then have the status that shows me when I have completely completed. It'll show green on the status bar, completely completed all the things I need to do to protect my business name, right? And then if I go down to the business name group, that's what I'm going to use when I'm working through then to tackle that entire task, all the steps, just like I gave you. And we're going to end with, rebranding. And also, if you don't need a rebrand, then also both of you guys can move on to trademarking and doing the registration. And then once all that's done, the top item at the very top in the high level list marked as done. So you guys can see that it's really easy for you to be able to keep a hold of this, and this is what I strongly recommend. Now, the reason I also like Monday is that you can set the columns to be deadlines. I want you to work methodically through your list at the high level top and stick a deadline on there when you want to be done 100% with that specific task. And then you're also going to go within your subgroups with the business name for the legalities. We're also going to want to put a deadline where we're going to accomplish each of those tasks. This is for accountability, because what I'm finding is that it's easy for me to sit here and say, oh, go do this, go search your business name, and people haphazardly go and they do a quick Google search and they're like, oh, I'm good. Or, oh, I didn't find anything on Facebook, I'm good. No. When I give you guys all these items that you need to go through, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second, I want you to get it onto a board like Monday. And you can see my structure of how we approach this, and it's really important for you to be able to work through this and stay on task. You can also put notes in there if you have team members. You can also hire someone to do these things for you. You can tag the user over to it, but I cannot say enough good things. Monday's not paying me to say this. I pay them to use it on all my businesses. Absolutely love it. It's got integrations with Slack and so forth, Zoom, you name it. But really, for a task board, I have not found a better option out there. So your first step is to go get that Monday board. You guys can see how I've used it. And then now we want to talk obviously about the resources that are available. So depending upon what weakness you've identified, you can then realize with that weakness and also the task that you need to work on, how am I going to learn and or hire to get these things taken care of, right? So let's keep using this example of legalities. Now, because the other things I feel like y'all are going to do on your own, the legalities aspect you might try to hire out, but stick with me. No matter what weakness that you had on here, you need to be learning and growing in all of these pain points and all of these weaknesses, especially even on the legality side, because the reality is you're the owner of the business. That's why you're sitting here and watching this video. And if you just take this high-level checklist and hand it off to an attorney, they're still going to be asking you questions. You're still going to have to make a decision between LLC or corporation. They're still going to ask you to tell them your business policy so they can make sure the contract aligns with it. So you still need to work through this process. So it's not just a DIY, but it gives you a good structure. Not only know what your overarching weakness is, but when you get it into the Monday board, then you can also even make a column on there to identify, do I want to outsource this? Do I need to learn more about this? And that way you can make the decisions that you need to do so that you can get your head around everything and also implement to become profitable, legal, and successful, because that's the end goal. Now, obviously here at TheLawTog, we have a lot of resources. I'll get into that here in a second, but I do highly recommend that when you go back to the client avatar and unique selling proposition, that formula we talked about, think about who in our industry is able to provide the services that you need for that, for whoever you're servicing, especially if it's a big marketing thing. You don't necessarily want to learn boudoir marketing from a pet photographer, right? Although a lot of the basics are fundamentally the same, you definitely want to try to connect with someone that's going to be able to provide the information that you specifically need. For example, you wouldn't want to go take a business and legal course from someone who's not a lawyer, I would hope, right? So just think about that as you're working through all the resources that are available. And I'll tell you guys this, one of the things that I have learned most in my business is, and I understand you may not have the resources to do it now, but put it part of your business plan, is it can be cheaper, easier, and quicker for you to hire out and or buy into these courses. And I'm not just saying this as an educator, I'm saying this as an entrepreneur. If someone could deliver me an entire package of what I need to learn and implement without me having to go spend hours to search and trying to qualify different products and services and such that are on the web, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I just did this. I'm really good with HTML and all of that, but I was just able to go and purchase like a plugin or purchase X, Y, and Z and load it right into the site, and it saved me time. Remember, we did that exercise about how much time are we spending during the day and seeing where it's going? Probably going a lot of scrolling on Facebook or looking on Instagram, right? So that's definitely, I encourage you to, if you're feeling resistance into wanting to buy into these all done for you type packages, identify the resistance. As long as you have identified that it can help fix or teach you to fix or improve the weakness that you have and meet the needs that you have in order to get there, then fight that resistance, put into your cost of doing business, because all education that you buy into, all services that you buy into are going to be deductible for your business. Qualifier, talk to a CPA. So obviously here at TheLawTog, over the years we've had a lot of different courses. We have Biz Revamp, our Legal Biz web course. So if you're legal weakness, that's definitely what we fixed. Marketing Madness, we talk about marketing legalities, but also a lot of kind of the structure that I identified here today, but we dig into it. We have pricing and sales, we have all of that. Obviously, as you can see, a lot of it is targeting on these major weaknesses. That's not by chance. That's because we developed those courses over the years of the questions that y'all are asking in the community and coming into the inbox for, partner with what I'm seeing on the law firm side. So we've had these courses for years. They've been high dollar ticket items. And one of the biggest feedbacks that we're getting is, especially for newer photographers, even if you sit here and do the right formulation of your CODB, etc., is the financial barrier to get into them. So we made a radical decision this year, and we've decided, all right, let's get rid of those courses, but not fully. We're not going to sell them individually anymore. We've packaged them all, and we're putting them into the Insider membership. So we're doing this for a monthly or annual fee, so you can log on, you can consume all the courses at once and cancel within the month if you want to, right? Our goal with that is not only just to give those courses, but also to have a place to keep putting this additional content that, as you can see, I have a lot of information beyond legal for you to be able to check out that I can do videos on, but that wouldn't necessarily necessitate a course. So they get lost on the blog, they get lost in social media, right? But it's stuff that I still think is very important for you. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be uploading fresh content to the membership area. So it has all those courses, but it's also going to have fresh new content. We're bringing a lot of industry leaders in, a lot of people that you guys have recommended or those that I've gotten to know at industry conferences. We're going to having them come in. So we're going to have boudoir photographer teachers. We're going to have pet photographer teachers and that kind of stuff come in to give content for you guys. So if there's very specific things you want to learn, we are going to stick it in there. So it's an all-in-one resource that is financially able for you to dig into. So that's where we are. We have come to the end of the video series. Obviously, a lot of great information. I invite you to go ahead and jump into the Insider membership, because one of the very first things that we work through is also identifying, where do we start? Where do we start on what we need? Well, y'all are halfway there already because you've done these videos. Hopefully you've created your Monday board, and then you're ready to tackle. You're ready to go. So I invite you guys to come join us. Come be an insider with me, one-to-one. I'll be hanging out in the group over there. You'll be able to get some information. It's not a legal subscription. It does not include contracts, but it has all of this knowledge and information. As you can see, these videos are just the tip of the iceberg, and I look forward to you guys strengthening your weaknesses and becoming a legal, profitable, and successful photography business.